Hello.
How we doing
Hello,
today,
hello.
everybody?
Hi, friends. Welcome to Getting Started with Math Solver. I hope you are as excited about the conversation as I am. Andy, how are you feeling?
I am doing well. This is a great day, and this is great.
Hello.
How we doing? Oh, and I'm getting
Today,
everybody background noise on
Hi,
my
friends.
There's something
Welcome to Getting Started with Math Solver. I hope you are as excited about the conversation as I am.
going on.
All right, Andy, how are you feeling?
I am doing well. And hold on. Oh my gosh, I'm hearing an echo on my side, so I
Same.
apologize.
I have no other tabs open. I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
Y'all, it is the week before Christmas. I don't know how you're feeling, but everyone's a little loopy over here. But welcome to Getting Started with Math Solver. We are so excited to have this conversation with you. Andy and I are both former math teachers, so this is something that's super special to us. And yeah, we're just excited to dive in, show you some pretty incredible things, and hear from you all. So you know the drill. The chat is open. We want to hear from you, hear where you're tuning in from, hear what you're excited about. Please do share ideas. If you have questions, anything, go ahead and post in there because we want this to be super conversational. And yeah, we're just excited.
Absolutely. And yeah, share where you're joining in from. We'd love to give a shout out to you and your school district. And so I see some great friends here like Mohammed. Wonderful to have you join in. And oh my gosh, yes. So Monica, welcome everybody from Georgia. And Aaron Sweet, oh my gosh, hey brother, it's so great to see you. Oh, so this is amazing. I love seeing so many of our, oh my gosh, so great names, great friends, great, amazing people. Angela, oh, from Southern California. Welcome everybody.
We've got y'all, this is what we talk about, right? Like math is the universal language. So seeing all these people hopping into the chat from all over the world really just makes me so excited because this is something that we can all bond over, And so, yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So the question is, what is Math Solver? Some of you may have heard of it. Some of you may have not heard of it yet. And we are happy to be able to walk you through it. So, Andy, what is Math Solver?
Well, Math Solver is your math companion. And that is what I love simply saying. I mean, how we talk about in Flip is to make learning fun and empowering for everyone. And Math Solver is very much the same, to make math fun and empowering for everyone. But in that sense, it is your math companion. It's there with so many supports, so many resources for you, for your students, for your parents, your students' parents, to be able to support them. So it's for everybody, and it's your math help. So Math Solver helps with simple arithmetic all the way to higher ed. So whether you are teaching in an elementary class or to working on your PhD in mathematics, it's there for you as well. And I love the simplicity of how you can put a problem into Math Solver or be able to capture that. And so, I mean, Jess, like of the three, draw, scan, or type it, which one do you like the most?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so maybe this is just like I don't know if teacher brain, if it's math teacher brain, what, but like I always want to be writing stuff out, right? So I love, even though that I can just input it into typing, I love to like have it written on paper. There's something super, I don't know, I want to say special about it, whatever. For me, I love being able to write it out and then scanning that way. What about you?
I very much the same. So like I mean, math is something that when you write it out, you can erase or you just scratch it out, start over. I like manipulating problems. And I think that that's the fun part about math, is that you have the ability to control it. You move things around, whatever you do to one side of the equal sign, you do to the other, and you balance it. I mean, it's just a lot of fun manipulating it, and having that draw component in there is a lot of fun. But what I love is that scan within the app, you can take what you've handwritten, scan it, and then go another step further. Um,
Yes, absolutely.
and
I
it's
also
acceptable.
I want to point out my favorite word that is on here too. That's something that I continue to be blown away by, especially as it pertains to Microsoft within the classroom, is that it is free. This is a completely free tool. And I think that that's huge. Like there's so many times, right, as educators that we get super excited when we're learning about a product, and when we're learning about something, and then we're like, but how much does it cost? And this is an absolutely free tool for you, for your students, for the parents of your students, like Andy said, for your parents, whoever wants to be using it, whoever wants to be doing that, it's a completely free, helpful tool for the classroom.
And what's also being helpful for the classroom is the practice questions that follow. So there's supports that support you as a teacher, support your students, and then taking another step to be able to assess, and those formative assessments and the randomization of how numbers you, I mean, when you create a problem, you substitute new numbers and you get new problems, and so you can practice in new ways. So it just is there for everybody.
Yeah,
And
it's an awesome extension of learning.
yeah. And so we're going to dive into seeing what Math Solver is. We're going to look at it both on a mobile sense and also on web, because that's also what I love, is that it's accessible for you and your students, for everybody. Whether you don't have mobile devices in your classroom, you can still leverage the power of Math Solver being your math companion on the web. And so it's kind of a nice bridge between, equity for all in math as well, because
And
again,
that's,
like
I
Jess
mean,
said.
we all engage with material in different ways too, right? So it just kind of depends. Even if you do have access to both of those things, some days you're going to want to use it some way, some days you're going to want to use it the other way. It just kind of depends, and like your circumstances around and all of those things. So yeah, we're going to show you both. And again, be dropping your ideas in the chat. I already see someone talking about how they've been using this for a while and a use case already. I might save it for later as people are thinking. I want you to be dropping ideas of different use cases, and maybe towards the end we'll like pop up some, because that's what this is all about, right? We're better together. We talk about this all the time, but as educators, when we see something, we want to talk about, okay, immediately, how can I use this? What can I be doing tomorrow? So I think like as we're talking and your wheels are turning, please do share, and like we'll take a little time at the end and drop in some use cases that we see, some ideas. I think that could be fun.
Totally. And so do we want to dive right into the web look at things? Because I know
Yeah.
on mobile here, we'll show, how these work as well. But let me, I guess, jump over to a fun, let's just look at it on the web. And that, oh my gosh, as as we look at this, join in with us as well, aka.ms/math. And that's going to take you straight to the Math Solver, the calculator here, all the page, or all the resources that are here as well. So let's do a tour, because
Yeah.
I know a lot of you that are brand new to Math Solver, or there's some fun new things that are in here that maybe it's been a while since you've joined in. So let's take a quick tour. And I guess the first thing that I always like to say is, like, what do you see? What do you notice? And I mean, Jess, what stands out to you as you first look at the Math Solver site?
Definitely up at the top where there's the different tabs, right? I see solve, play, practice, and then of course download because it's an app as well. But hearing those words and like how they align with math too, right? Like there is a place for solving, there's a place for play, and there's a place for practice. And so I immediately am drawn to that, like, oh, what's under each of those things? Let's
Totally.
see.
So
So let's start with solve, right?
yeah, I mean, solving it. I mean, we're always after looking at, like, all right, what's the answer here? So if I click solve, I get, one, I can extend this calculator, this little icon here, and I can open that. And there are specific buttons that fit different, you know, problems that you may have. Math is full of problems. And so you can select which one that it is that you may be needing. And so it's not something that your elementary students are going to see all these calculus buttons. They're going to be like, what is that? What do I do? I push it, and then trying to, create some random equations in there. But what's nice in here is that if you're looking and talking about inequalities for just, basic algebra or arithmetic here, I mean, we have our symbols in here, and we can, plug in to see, is 2 greater than 6. And it's false. And so this is just that confirmation that we have in here. However, if I were to then say solve, well, confirm, well, it's false in here. I could see solution steps, talking about comparing it. And what I also love is then the quiz component that's in here as well. Oh, snap. Uh, um, so let's actually go back and do another arithmetic problem in here and to be able to compare or do some things. So what other kind of problems
Well,
do
so
we?
I love too
Yeah.
that like there's right there at the bottom. So even if it's kind of like, overwhelming when I open this page and like, okay, there's a lot going on. But here, just especially for when you're just going in and playing with it so that you can see how is this best going to fit my classroom? How will my students be able to take advantage of this tool? It gives you those examples so we can look, okay, quadratic equation, trigonometry, but then look, Andy, there's arithmetic right there. There's a
Oh,
multiplication problem. And then it goes into even further things. So using this here, okay, we're pulling out what 699 times 533. It gives us that answer right there. But then it also allows us to see all of the solution steps. So if we click on that button, it's going to expand it and show us exactly what steps in order to follow to get here. And I think that that's something that's super powerful, as our students are solving problems. First of all, they're going to do it, right? They'll go ahead and then they look and they're like, oh, wait a second. This is not aligned, but for them to have that autonomy to be able to look through and see, okay, did I do this first step? Oh, I didn't line them up correctly. I had the place over 1 on the bottom number, something like that. And so then they can go through and see and check their work and see like exactly where was I or how many times. Let's be honest, we know what happens here, right? Whenever we're doing the second digit, we have it lined up exactly in the same space without putting that 0 there under the ones column so
mhm.
that they can say, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot to move it over again." Something like that so that they can go ahead and they can check themselves, right?
Absolutely. And as we're looking at these steps in here, that I want to definitely point out that, on the web here, when you see that immersive reader icon in here, I mean, this is brilliant. I mean, to think about, the reading that's involved in math,
Mhm.
it's there. And we're supporting, I mean, again, for that immersive reader, all the functionality to have things read aloud, to go through and change all of our different settings in here, to be able to translate this into, another language. I always love looking back at, how we could translate an entire page, have it
Mhm.
be
长乘法的步
read
骤，
aloud to
首
support all of our students and all of our learners. I mean, it's so powerful in the idea that we
Yeah.
now are providing this for everybody in your classroom, for their families, so that they can see how to support their students in their native language as well. I love it.
Absolutely, because we talk about how, every subject is teaching reading. Just because we're math and think back, right, like, days gone by, it was very like, math was math. There wasn't reading involved in math, right? And just, like, I'm immediately thinking of those, like, 100 problem worksheets, like the speed test, right? Which maybe whatever, but I loved those. Those were, like, my jam for whatever reason. I think it's telling as who I am and as an adult since I love this so much. However, there's so much more to it, and I have seen time and time again students who were struggling in my classroom simply because they were struggling readers, not because they didn't understand the mathematical concepts. So having this piece in there that is just enhancing that is such a huge thing. And I just saw right out of the corner of my eye, I saw Jornay just say, "Immersive reader is a game changer." And that is true. It really, really is, and Jacqueline brought up a good point here, like, how incredible to actually have the problems be able to be translated, and so we talked about earlier, right? Yes, math is a universal language, but to be able to have even the steps and everything to deepen that understanding, have that translated, huge.
Absolutely. And that's, I mean, it's for everybody here. So
Mhm.
as even looking back down here, if I wanted to prompt those practice questions in here, I can do that. If I wanted to give some similar problems to my students, I could absolutely take this, copy that address, and I could send this to my students. I mean, there's not any login process to
Mhm.
this. So like what Jess was sharing, it's free. So there's not an account or there's not anything that they sign in with, but I just created an in private window. So I'm not like backed with whatever I had just created. But now I see similar problems. So if I was a teacher and I wanted to paste this link, if I wanted to share that in my LMS, whether with Teams or Canvas or Schoology, whatever you leverage there, you could post that, and now you're providing your students with practice problems to explore and to better themselves as well.
Awesome. And we talk all the time, especially lately, right, of the power of AI and to be able to so quickly be like, hey, here's the problem that we did. Quick, generate a quiz for this formative assessment so that I can see where my students are at. Did they understand the concepts? Because we have all been there where we're working with a student and we're saying, does that make sense to you? And they're like, yeah, I
Mhm.
get it. And then there's a similar question, right? And they're like, oh, wait, it didn't make sense because they went to do it. And they're like, wait, there's something that's missing there. So being able to have all of these other questions that are generated on your behalf, like nice, quick assessment, I think is something that is super, super powerful. And like at the end of the day, it's anytime we can have a little time-saving moment for a teacher is really special, right?
Absolutely. And that's where the time saver part. So as a teacher, you're wanting to provide additional resources, supplemental, content for your students. Because I will say, like, as a teacher, you always are going to have that kid of like, I'm done. Now what?
Yep.
And so it's that having art, what now can I have? Or maybe it's a student that's like, I'm working with these students, but now they need further support, further
Yeah.
instruction, or additional practice, or parents. I mean, you have parents that are going to ask, what can we do at home?
Yeah. How
And
can
this
we bring
is
in
this
additional
is
support?
it. I mean, you can
Mhm.
link this right within whatever content that you share out. And I mean, what I love are these additional supporting, like the video component that's in here. So I didn't search for a specific, arithmetic kind of problem, but it took what I had added in there, and it's already found additional resources that I could then take these links and paste them into
Mhm.
whatever module, whatever resource that I was sharing outward, supporting them.
Yeah, that's
And yeah, go ahead.
huge, huge. I think about so sorry, my mind is spinning because 'cause I'm just so excited about this. But I think about when, so I taught 6th and 7th grade, and, we did, like, personalized learning to an extent where, they would take their pretest, and each test had by specific standards, and if they mastered a standard, then whenever it came time for the unit, they could skip that section, and then, maybe you're starting on RP 1.3 instead of RP 1.1 or something like that. And so I would spend all this time curating all these different resources. Okay, you're on this specific standard and you need additional. If you missed 5 out of 5, you have maybe don't really know what's going on here. So like here's extra things. If you only missed 3 out of 5, like and just kind of had it be specific to their level. Tons of work on the front end, but it was like a beautiful thing then whenever we had each unit at a time, right? But to be able to be like, boom, here's all of these videos automatically based on what they're going through and what they were understanding or not understanding is so incredible that it's able to take all of these videos and like look, I mean, Khan Academy, different YouTube videos and put them all in one spot. That is really, really fantastic.
Totally. And I want to call out Jennifer here, Davis, of saying, exemplars are a great
Yeah,
strategy for UDL, but, having it to support, students, I mean, it's that student agency to letting them have control, looking at what do they need additional resource, or having them, click and, once they have done something, all right, now watch this con video, and you've added in additional, supplemental, resource for everybody. It's not that you have
exactly.
to, do it for, one student, but you have it for everybody already.
Yep.
Um,
And my good friend Scott just brought up a conversation that Andy and I were having about an hour ago of literally doing your homework, right? And you had the odd answers in the back of the book. So you had two things that happened. Either number one, the teacher assigned even questions, or number two, you would go and you had the answer and that was it. And so you're like, wow, the answer's 7, but I got 830. That's all I
Something
know.
went wrong.
Right? I made a huge mistake somewhere, but I have no idea where, no idea how, no idea why. So to have all of those steps and be able to see exactly where those gaps are is really incredible. Because that odd number stuff wasn't doing
Yeah.
it.
And I mean, so I mean, the solve component in here is like the main meat and potatoes of what Math Solver can support. Of course, you as a teacher, those resources, additional steps for your students, the immersive reader. But I want to scroll back up to the top because I mean, one, we talk about that play, practice, and download, and of course, in download, this is all available for free as an app. So if you don't have the Math Solver app, please, check it out. And I will say, I've deleted the calculator app on my phone and only use the Math Solver app because
Nice.
it's it and more. I mean, why else?
Right.
What else do I need?
I
And
love
so
that.
it's replaced it. Um,
Mhm.
but of course, the idea of play. I mean, learning should be fun. And
Right.
when we find the joy of learning, when we find the joy of, practicing something and seeing success, then we're more invested. Just like, with Flip, like when you let students share their voice, that engagement soars. And so within Math Solver, playing, having some fun in here, I mean, this is an additional space that you can then challenge your students. Having a challenge of the day, so your students come in and they explore. And now we the way that this works is that you have these different numbers, and the challenge of the day, you get this, and then you go on to other additional ones. So what plus what equals 17? And so I could say, 4 plus
Mhm.
3. Oh, that's not 17 or 7. That's 17. And so I go down, and so I just filled in this one. So you just work your way through each of these. And so, I mean, just a fun, another space that you could
And that's a
challenge.
great way to the extension that you were talking about, right? Like, the student that finishes really quickly and is like, "What do I do now?" Here's a secret, play a game, but it's mathematical, right?
Mhm.
So if you're just like, "Oh, yeah, you can go in and press play and see what pops up," then, accidentally practicing, right, while you're having fun.
100%. And I mean, within the page, I mean, if we go to practice, we can see other, I mean, those quizzes that we just were doing. So this is again, like if you were to share that and then they come back to this is where they can see what they did before, how they did. I got 3 correct out of 5. Some of these I started, but I never, finished it. I could see other types of quizzes. Maybe I went to explore. And I do want to, highlight, asking about languages and to see that Math Solver is supported. I mean, there's, I think, 37 languages. So at the bottom of the page, you can click the little globe and you can choose another language that's in here. And I mean, it's again, math is a universal language in here. So if I were to select Spanish, then the entire page is going to be translated into that language. And so as we do look at other ones in here, please, I mean, as we have educators joining in from all around the world, I encourage you, check it out, look at what is there for you and your students, what's going to best support them, and you can easily translate the entire page in a single click.
Absolutely. Alright, so I'm thinking of course, I'm looking at the time.
Mm.
Let's show them the mobile app.
The mobile side of things. All right,
Yes.
perfect. So let me jump over to the mobile app here. And so, so what I love about our mobile app is it's very much just like we, saw on making sure as I'm looking at you. So we have our draw, functionality. So if I were to say, y equals 2x plus 3, and it's going to identify what I wrote there. I could hit solve, and now I see my linear equation that I have. I can even click into that graph. I could zoom in to see more specific points that I may need to do. Also in here, I can see my solution steps that I have here as well. So I mean, just a really powerful piece that we always have in our hand, or your students may have in hand as well. But the scan functionality, and this is where I want to stress the idea of so if I have my problem here, and I enjoy my kids smubbles that they've drawn on my whiteboard here, but so if I have a series of equations here. So if I want to scan, I can scan my problem, and it brings it in. But now I love this part about Math Solver as well, is that it shows if there's, I mean, to show other methods of learning and other methods of finding that solution. So if I wanted to look at those solution steps, right now, if I did substitution, I see steps for that. But if I wanted to look at elimination, I find other methods. I find another way that I could solve this. And that's, I mean, Jess and I, we were talking about this, the concept of different approaches to math. It's beautiful. It makes it so fun that the way that I do it may not be the same way that Jess will solve this problem.
Exactly. There's a time and a place for learning the steps, right? That is definitely important. However, at the end of the day, I think that it's kind of like, I mean, you said it exactly, Andy. It is a beautiful thing that we don't all solve problems the same way. That's gorgeous in math. That's gorgeous in life. Like it's just part of it, right? So to be able to see that there are multiple ways that I can approach solving a problem, I think is a really great thing. And so when I think about a student solving something and then going through here, and they might be like, wait a second, this doesn't align with what I have. But wait, I got the same answer. And so having this discussion about that, okay, why did you come up with the same answer? Does that mean that you did it incorrectly? Or does that mean that there's another way? And like, think about, like, I'm getting all excited. Think about the conversations that can be happening in the math classroom of like, why are there the same answer, but a different path, you know?
And those are great conversations that you can have through the learning to make it a deeper understanding. And 100%, there's a time and place to learn the specific method. But once you have that, now use it to support you to take on more challenging problems, more challenging questions, because that's the whole point of math, is to apply your learning for another time. And I mean, there's always going to be another.
Yep. Listen, I've been reading back through this book that I have been obsessed with for a lot of years. And
this is not planned at all.
If you haven't read this, I would highly suggest it. But I was reading it this morning because why not?
All my side notes along the way.
Yes, exactly same. I was going back through things that I had highlighted years ago, and this sentence really stuck out to me. There is nothing more important that teachers can do with tasks than to open them up so students are encouraged to think about different methods, pathways, and representations. When we open a task, we transform its learning potential. How about it?
Love it. And I mean, the essence of it is that we are building students who are hungry for how they arrived at the solution, not just about the answer. And that's, I mean, the nice bridge between, you know, we always talk about with Flip is the authenticity, that student voice. And now with math, we can apply that same meaning. And it's about the love and the passion for how you arrived at that solution, not just the answer, because that's the back of the book. This is now we talk about how we got there. It's all about the journey.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited. This is amazing. So yeah, I just saw Anne say, Jinx, you both pulling that joke at the same time. It's been a minute. And so actually what's funny is I was looking back through what was the first Flip video that I ever recorded, and it was talking about this book. And so that's what made me pull it off my shelf this morning and look back through.
And that's actually, oh my gosh, that's exactly what it was. It was talking about what your PD, what is it that you're learning about? And I was reading about mathematical mindsets. So awesome. And so, I mean, as teachers, I mean, we love to hear, you know, what are your aha moments? What are those, you know, new ideas that you have in the chat? And, you know, yes, Jennifer, doing math is different than mimicking math. So absolutely. So just like we talk about on as my scan was there, as we talk about having, you know, the game on web, you can do the same thing on the app as well. And, you know, again, have that challenge, be able to play, enjoy learning. And
make a little leaderboard if you want. That's something I would always do with my students when we were playing games. We loved Prodigy was a big game that we were playing often. And so we had a leaderboard. And so it was like, that was, you know, the big thing, like, oh, I went home and I played this game so that I could reach the board. And I'm like, haha, you're practicing math, you know?
That's exactly it, is to bring the challenge, have that fun competitive side, but at the same time, everybody's building each other up through it as well. Um,
Exactly.
Now, I mean, how we've talked about this. How can teachers use Math Solver? I mean, again, I have to shout out Muhammad here. I mean, awesome. Hey, friend. It is game changer. And if this is
Mhm.
new to you in your classroom, I mean, this is now bringing so much uh, for your students and for you. Whether you're taking it and applying those videos, adding that in for additional resources, or to have it as a checkpoint, maybe to model a lesson of how you got to that solution. Um, and I, of course, I have to give a shout out. Heather aired amazing, MIE expert out in Scotland, but she had made these quick guides, and there's a quick guide from Math Solver. So if you haven't seen that, aka.ms/math solver quick guide, check it out, leverage it, use it. If you're a instructional coach, if you're a tech coach, if you're a math coach, share this with your department, share this
Yeah.
with your team. I mean, so much power to that.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
yeah. And so as we, there we go. As we're looking at our page here, we talk about, how students can use it. And Jess, I mean, talk about the lens and flip real
Yeah.
quick.
So we were talking about the games, right? And Jacqueline pointed out how fun it is that there's games that are part of this app. And there's actually a Math Solver lens that's within Flip as well. And so you can see my little video there going to the side, solving the problems. And it's just kind of a funny thing, too, because even though you have this knowledge in your mind, right, your brain kind of for a second is like, wait a second, which way do I need to go? What's the right answer? And so just those fun play to learn moments. But then also just how are students using it? I mean, and Andy, you can even go to the next slide. This kind of ties in with how can parents use Math Solver as well. But thinking about that additional homework help, and I share a lot that we've got a college student at home, and I don't necessarily remember all of college algebra or accounting and different things like that. So there's a lot of times that I am helping her and I'm like, let's get this app out and we can see and let's learn through it together and walk through those steps. And it really is this like beautiful tool to assist. And you can see that Jenny tweeted out here of like, oh my gosh, I taught my girl how to check her math homework and the fact that it offers a quiz with similar problems. And if there was anything that they missed, they were able to go back and see what that mistake is. I really do think that it's such a powerful, powerful tool.
Absolutely. And I will echo the same idea of sharing it is as conversation. I know we get together, right now at the holiday time, families getting together. I was talking with my cousin and he has two boys of his own, middle school and high school. And I was talking about Math Solver and he's like, hold on, this is free. And I mean, it's one of those like awareness of like, share it with your parents, share it with your friends. But at the same time, he then was like, all right, game on. I'm going to download this. But he's like, I don't need this. My kids need this. And so
Yeah.
he instantly went to share the app and texted it to his boys. And so it's just a really awesome thing to know that we're empowering our students to have the tools and resources to better and level themselves up and learn math at a deeper and greater understanding as well.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love it. So I'm going to quick pop up a couple use cases and then that's already a wrap. We got to get going. But I love just seeing how people are thinking about ways that they can be using this tool. As we talked about, we want to be able to have it be something that like you learn and then you can use it immediately, right? This is a really, really powerful tool that's so easy. It's completely free. It's already set up for you. So you just go to the site or go to the app and it's boom, right there.
Absolutely. And I mean, supporting them. Yes. Couldn't say it better. Oh my gosh.
There we go. Share with everyone. It's 100% free.
I mean, who doesn't want more friends? I mean, that's the thing is it's your
Exactly,
math
right.
companion. So,
Yep. All right,
my
y'all.
goodness.
So with that being said, thank you so much for being here, for joining with us and just brainstorming ideas. And we do, of course, want to keep the conversation going. Please do tweet out things that you have learned, share with your colleagues, and we just can't wait to see what ways you are using this. And of course, any questions, you know where to find us. Reach out on social, Microsoft Flip, Microsoft Math, Andy or myself, and we would be so happy to assist you. And
I
thank
love
you
it.
for this conversation, Andy.
No, this is so fun. And it's real. And that's just
Yeah.
what it is it's real. So thank
Yeah.
you very much. This was great. And thank you everybody for joining in.
Yeah. Happy holidays, and we'll talk to you soon.
See ya.